Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawesberg, and as always, I'm super excited to be here today. Today is January 2nd, the first Sunday of the new year in 2022. We're just so blessed to be here. 2021 was a very interesting year. Unfortunately, some of us lost some people due to COVID, just passing away for different reasons. And so it's been a trying year for some of us. And for most of us, we're just glad to see another year. We hope that everyone is safe and practicing safety. With Omicron that's out here now, it's a whole totally different variant that's going on. And so just got word from my son's school that they'll be virtual. They're supposed to start this week. So this week they'll be virtual learning. And I think that is going to be the norm for some of the schools or most of the counties within the Atlanta area here in Georgia. So that's what we got going on here. Unseasonably warm weather, absolutely 77 degrees yesterday here in Atlanta. It was so warm. We were like, what is going on here in January? This is weather we're not used to having, but we accepted it, we took it, and we're going in stride with it. Just a lot of things that we are excited about. For some of us, most of us, you know what? It's a great day. You know, it's a great opportunity to see another year, another day. But most of us have been putting in what we wanted to do throughout the year, right? So we're not waiting until a new year to kind of reset and renew and just get going. We're going to start doing our stuff now. So I want to just take a minute here, take a pause, because I know we got some new listeners here, because it's the first of the year, right? So everybody's leaning in. So we appreciate Q Vision joining us today. I just want to give people a little bit of background about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. It's all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women. And we do it by way of community service, public speaking, mentoring, workshops, and the arts. We've been doing this particular platform here with the talk show podcast. This is our 6th season, and one of our recaps today, as we talk about Year in Review Part 2, we'll talk a little bit more about the excitement I had when we celebrated our going into our 6th season. But as I mentioned, today is Year in Review. We did a Part 1 during the Christmas season. Covered a couple of things then, and today we're going to pick it up with some more. I think all of them were interesting topics. It was really hard for me to decide which ones to cut up and choose and share with you in this particular space. All of the shows were good. I'm fortunate to say that all of the shows are good. My guests are amazing, and so it was a really difficult decision to choose who I would want to share with you in this particular episode or show topic. But without further ado, we're going to get into it. My first one was with Kevin Davis Sr., and the topic was all about how to build financial wealth. And Kevin is a phenomenal guy in the space of stocks and wealth and just really helping people understand how to move in the stock market, what things they need to do financially to get themselves prepared and ready. And we just had a very interesting conversation because he's a 90s guy. He was a former hip hop artist. He had a #1 record back in the 90s and had money, didn't know what to do with it. And then the light bulbs just kind of went off for him. And then he really got serious and tried to understand what it is he needed to do to not only create wealth, but to create a legacy. And so he's all about leaving an inheritance for his young son, who is about 3 now. And so basically he has written a book, which is a love letter to his son, explaining everything about finances and how to build wealth. But this is, it was a lot to cover in that topic, so we just want to share with you just a little bit of the conversation. Championship home, right? So we're so happy for you in doing that. But today, I'm excited. Why are you excited, Michelle? You're always excited. Yeah, I'm excited because I get to talk to somebody I like. I admire. He's smiling. Yes, I like and admire so much. And he knows. He says, Michelle, stop talking that way. You don't need to say those things. But it's true. I believe giving people their flowers now is very important. Today's topic is how to build financial wealth. With my guest today, Kevin Davis Sr. Hi, Kevin.
Hey, Michelle.
How are you, Kevin?
I'm good.
Yeah, you looking good. You looking today. Look, I wore it today.
I'm saying we got that brand show.
Yes. I'm here to support the brand 106%. But before we get there, Kevin, tell the people where you from. Where you from, my friend?
Born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, and back and forth to Brooklyn. You know how New York is. You move 50 different times.
Yeah, well, some people do, because my people are in the Bronx, and they still ain't moved. They haven't even moved across the street. They're not moving. But I do notice that Queens and Brooklyn people tend to go back and forth and that type of thing. You're claiming two boroughs, Kevin. You're claiming two boroughs.
That's all right. I was born in Brooklyn, though.
Yeah, that's what it is? You're claiming Brooklyn all day?
I'm claiming New York because, I'm out of New York now, so that's what I got to do.
That's what you got to do. As a kid, tell me, what was the neighborhood like for you growing up in New York, in Brooklyn and Queens?
Well, gangs on corners. Don't stand on the corner, your mother would say. It was pretty tough. Yeah. You can't sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
It was pretty tough. My mom's a single parent. She had me when I was 17, so I was raised primarily by my grandmother. We lived on Hancock Street in Brooklyn.
Where's your family from? From the Caribbean, the islands, anything like that?
My grandfather was Trinidadian. My grandmother was Venezuelan, so you can put that together.
Yeah, that's a nice mix. That's spicy and saucy. So you're
all
eating
day. I can have no bland food. None. Zero.
You're eating good every day. Are you a good cook? Did that translate?
Listen, I taught my wife how to cook. She'll talk crap, but I taught her how to cook. That's how that works. I had to eat.
You had to.
So I had to learn how to cook.
You had to learn how to cook. So grocery shopping, setting it up, Kevin. For most people that don't know, us kids in New York at that time, years ago, we were going to the store, buying groceries, coming home, right, cooking it up. You're very independent at that age, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. I was a latchkey kid.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about this music. How did we get involved with music? Or tell me a little bit of the music you were listening to as a kid, and then talk about how that translates into a career.
Okay. So how did I get into music? Hip hop started. When I moved to Queens, I lived in Springfield Gardens, right? And I lived right next door to a park. Right, so they'd have park jams, and this is before rap started because they'd be playing breaks like Tina Marie, Square Biz, and Good Times and stuff like that. So it was about that whole part. Then you'd see the MCing coming out. So then they would have, my junior high school was 231, so they would plug up to the lamppost and put up what they call ass kickers, the speakers, and I'd go there every single week and rhyme every single week, and it was at a time where I was about to go to college, and this is just before I got kicked out the crib. So I was in my second year of college, and I got kicked out of the crib, and I was just like, okay, what am I gonna do? My boy, Neil was like, yo, you should make a record. I laughed. I was like, come on, man, get out of here, feed it, right? So the funny part is I had nothing else to do. I'm ignorant. I don't know what the heck's going on. So I said, let me try. This is 86, 87. I just went on a war path. I'm a real focused person. I just don't stop. I'm relentless. And I wanted to get in a record deal with Warner Brothers Records in 89. Now, let me set it up. So I was straight hip hop. Right? So, when I was in the park, Redman, Bismarck, Ed Lover was funny because he had this record called My Loafers, mimicking my Adidas. Hilarious. But anyway, Mikey D, everybody would come to the park and rap. So, that was my thing. So my cousin, took me to this club called The Garage in the city, right? And it had all these beautiful women in there. And I was like, wait a minute, I ain't never seen nothing like this. So I'm going every Friday. We trying to go, right? And we're in the G, and I'm like, they're playing these records. And I'm like, first I was like, this is kind of whack, kind of weird. But then I started dancing. And then it caught me. I was done.
That's it.
So between The Garage and Union Square, right? With the razors in your mouth, it was a little bit different. So I go to Union Square all the time, even though I went there all the time. I go to the G because be amongst a bunch of kids, girls, guys or girls. I choose the girls for 200 bills. So that's exactly what I did. So one day I'm walking through the G, they're playing a record, and I start rapping to it. And this later became Stomp, which was my hit single.
Yes.
Right. And so I started rapping, got the first part of it, was like, So fast forward a little bit, I'm selling cars in New Jersey at Mitsubishi, at Bob Shizuli Mitsubishi on Route 46. This is funny stuff. So now I got a demo tape of me rapping over Lynn Collins beat really fast, having a good time. And I gave it to what was my manager at the time, cousin.
Yeah.
He took it to my manager. He heard it, called me into the studio, and he plugged in Stomp, which is the beat, and I wrote that in 5 minutes.
Wow.
So, yeah, 5 minutes. And it was hilarious. I never wrote anything down, so it was just all spit it out. And so I remember saying to them, because it was on an 8-track, it was like, I was like, I hope they play that on the radio. Man, they played that record 30 times a day on all the stations. It was a huge record, really huge record. I was found at Warner Brothers in 1989, September 19th, the record came out, and life changed. I didn't work for like 5 years. It went
from 0 to 60 in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, so funny. I had an 87 Toyota Corolla.
Uh-huh.
The door opened on the passenger side. Right? I'm driving on, I don't know if it was Linden Boulevard or Guy Brew. I don't know what, I just coming from, I forgot what block it was. So there's a school bus to my left. I'm in the 1987 Toyota Corolla. You can barely see me. The students are going crazy. They played my video that day and somebody recognized me.
Wow.
Talk about somebody's.
You selling cars and you didn't even get a new car for yourself. Like all is going on.
Okay, so when you hood, you don't know what's good, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think about it. Mm-hmm. You know, and at that time, I wasn't connected to anything funny, money or materialism. Yeah. I was in the middle. Yeah. So to back it up a little bit, when everyone's wearing Kangols, rope chains, and shell-toe Adidas, you know, I couldn't afford rope chains, Kangols, and shell-toe Adidas. So I always had my own lane. You understand? Yeah. So I wasn't thinking about buying stuff. Mm-hmm. When a record came out, it was a huge hit. I'm making $90,000 a month plus. I didn't think of moving out of my studio apartment. I was still sleeping on a futon.
Wow.
You understand? Like I didn't know any better. Yeah. This is so funny when you get educated.
Yes.
Like, I didn't know anything. I mean, to me, it was about women, partying, and hanging out with my boys. That
was it. I mean, that was a huge record because Tony Humphries remixed.
He did a remix,
and he was big and still is. So man, for you to just spit it out like, man.
Well, it was part of you. Like, you know, that was just different. Like back then, I'm at. The other parts of it is learning the financials of these companies. So, you know, to me, research is going to allow you to do real research. Not I read an article about the company and it sounds good. Get out of here. You know, and then the other things are after the fact, but I'll let you ask questions and I'll lead you down the path.
No, give me the after the fact. Come on, give me some more. You're rolling.
Nah, I'm just saying, like, it's not just about research either. It's your emotions will get you out of money before it gets you in the money.
Facts.
Right? Facts. So you got to know you, and then you got to understand the long view. Here's what I mean. Most people these days, this is the microwave society, like it or love it, right? So most people, what they want to do is get rich quick. Mm-hmm. I want to get wealthy slow. Hear me. You want to get rich quick? I want to get wealthy slow. Mm-hmm. Why? Because rich goes away real quick and wealth slow stays around long though. Mm. And so when you think about it that way, say, okay, mountains, if I keep throwing bricks upon bricks upon bricks every day of my life, I'm going to have, for the rest of my life, I got 29,200 days if I live to 80. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of bricks.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of bricks. Now I throw a little spicy percentage on that when I know what I'm doing. That's a lot of chips. Mm-hmm. But if you keep spending what you think is a lot to you, you don't even think big enough for your vision. You don't even have a vision. Mm. So you got to learn how to think outside of yourself. Mm. So if you think having $100,000 in your bank account is a lot of money, or having $1 million is a lot of money, you're thinking too small. All the billionaires are telling you already. Yeah. You are starting out with the junior kit. Spend $1 and you ain't a millionaire no more. Wow. So what you doing? Yeah. And give some taxes away. Them boys is coming after you. So you got to think $1 million number, 20 years of $4,000. That's it. So retired 60, you out of your million by the time you 80. Don't live to 95 on Social Security.
Yeah.
And a person with $1 million that doesn't know how to work $1 million goes broke when they get their retirement. The person that knows how to build $1 million and make money, those are the people who have money for generations. Right? And I'm saying million as the starting point, not like, this is what you got to aspire to, because think about it. We all made millions in our life. If you look backwards at the money that we spent, we just gave it to somebody else.
Is it? And so, Kevin, I know people are probably thinking like the stock market, to your point, it goes up, it goes down. Is that a place where we can really create wealth?
There's only a couple of ways you can create wealth, right? Building a business, right? That's going to take a team, right? Real estate,
yes,
and stocks, right? Okay. And stock market outpaces the real estate market. Just do the math over the last 100 years. It's close. You ain't making enough land, but there's plenty of stocks. So I look at it from a standpoint of, it's like I gave the example on McDonald's. If your parents had the foresight and the wisdom to buy $2,000 worth of McDonald's in 1962 when it went public in December, they'd be worth over $17 million right now.
Right.
You split 12 times.
Right.
But they didn't keep buying it. It was just 2,000, hit or quit or leave you alone. Forget about it. Right. Now think about how many McDonald's there are now. Well, you think of McDonald's, you're wrong. You have to be thinking, what is the new economy doing? What's next for the next 20 years? When Amazon was trading at $50 a share in the 90s, no one knew what Amazon would be.
Nobody.
Right?
Nobody. Yes.
That's why I always tell people, let the math lead you on the path. Once you know what the math is, you know how to do the research, right? Then you could see the numbers, and those numbers jump out to you when you understand what it is. When you don't know what you're looking at, and you take in the person who doesn't or has just as much as you or not that much more than you, you take in their advice because you heard it in the barbershop. Here's the deal on Wall Street. By the time you hear about it, it's already too late.
It's done. It's past. Kevin, we talked about a lot of books. I know Peter Finch is someone that you recommend.
Peter Lynch.
Peter, do you have a favorite?
My book. I'm just kidding.
That's fine.
I'm messing with you.
You have another one?
No. Do I have a favorite? I like those three.
Okay.
I like Learn to Earn as the first one because that's the one that it's simple enough for people to digest. Right. And it's good because the whole thought, here's why. The whole thought behind Peter Lynch is buy what you know. Now, keep in mind, Peter Lynch didn't like technology, but he wrote the books back in the 70s, 80s. Right. So there was a different thought process back then. But when you really look at buy what you know, if you would have bought half of the stocks, monetize what you patronized, you'd be mega right now. If you was buying it, like let's say you had to go purchase the stock before you can buy the good that you love to use. You own Netflix right now. Right. You don't Square right now. You don't own a lot of companies right now. But so his whole thought process is buy what you know. And it was great. But my remix on it, because you got to remix it, is buy what you understand. Because I don't care if you know it, but if you don't understand it, what if it's their time is past now? Right. Like the product, but the numbers, the ship of sale has gotten too big to grow now. What you going to do? Right.
Do you listen to a podcast, like podcasts or anything like that?
No. I shout out my people at Earn Your Leisure. That's probably the only podcast I listen to, but I don't really listen to. I rather read the books from the people who made the game.
Okay. Than to listen to people.
Yeah, because I don't want hearsay. I don't want second party. If I need to learn something new, I'm gonna get a book. Like I just got a book in the mail, and a physical book because I needed that book. But also, I'll YouTube until I find someone that's reputable and consistent. Sometimes I'll do that. That's when I'm studying something. Okay. I'll use it as a reference to see if it's right, and then I'll back test it against other people. But for the most part, I really like to get it from the source, like Peter Thiel and the rest of these people who've done some really monstrous things, because if you got a vision for yourself that says, I want to make a couple of million in a world where people are getting more than 3, 4, 500 billion, you got to look at it like this. You thinking too small.
Yes.
So if you're trying to leave something behind as far as a legacy is concerned, you can do that with less, though. You don't have to be thinking about millions. Like I said this the other day, you know, if I got $500 and I get my whole family to agree to put $500 away every single month, right? If I stretch that over 100 generations, or not 100, 3 generations, or let's go 90 to 100 years, that's $100 million.
Yes.
Over $100 million, actually, right? 200 years is like 64 billion, something like that.
Right.
But there's a plan that has to go with that. You just can't go, okay, let me do that. Let me put that away and see. No, there's a plan. There's dynamics to that whole plan, and you got to really work it and finesse it to a certain point, and you got to stay consistent. And that's the other thing. When people don't get their way, they throw the rattle and the basketball they take home with them because they're not getting the performance they want to see right away. Well, that's on you.
Yeah.
You're stupid, right? You're short term. You'll never see money, like never. But the people who waited, who actually was consistent in their plan, boom, 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 march with their conviction of the numbers, those are the people who benefited.
Yeah.
Those are the people that profit.
Yeah.
So it's about consistency.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to speak from a personal space. I missed out. You miss out when you're not consistent. If you're not doing the work, if you're not paying attention, if you're distracted by life, if other things get your attention, you're going to miss out. But it's
you know what? That's okay.
But it's never too late, right? You can get it back on track.
But you need. But and I say it's okay for this reason. You need that.
Yeah.
You need this. You need to bump your toe in the middle of the night to know that you don't want to do that no more.
Yeah, I don't want to do that no more.
Right? And you need to sit on the sideline to realize that, okay, this is what works. I need to stop playing around with what I think and do what I know.
And do what I know. And it goes effortlessly when you do it that way. Kevin, if somebody looked at your phone, what apps would they see? Which financial apps do you have on there? Look at his face. That was a good question. You have
a lot.
Okay, so we're talking beginners. We're talking people just trying to get into it. Or
I'll give you the apps that I give
people.
everybody.
How
about that?
All right.
So the first app, Yahoo Finance.
Yes.
I checked that about 1 million times. Yahoo Finance, CNBC.com. Market Watch. TechCrunch. TechCrunch. Wall Street Journal.
Yes.
Barron's.
Yes.
Barron's. Stock Twits.
Yes.
Trading View. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a bunch of them you watch every day.
Well, I mean, I don't look at them every day. Certain things are certain apps for certain things.
Okay.
You know, I got Thinkorswim on there, and I got an account with them, but I don't use them. I use Fidelity, but I use Thinkorswim for their news because it's real time.
Okay.
So, you know, it's a lot of things on there. You know, I don't I'll use trading. I'm just really getting into trading.
Kevin was amazing. He is a wealth of information. He loves what he does. Building financial wealth is his life. He is a reputable guy, doing a lot of great things, coaching a lot of people through the stock market, and just a wonderful gentleman. We had a great conversation that day. Be sure to check out that full episode so you can get some more financial tips. I thought it would be good and behooving to start you off this year with that type of mindset, right? How do we create wealth, build it, sustain it? You know, what are the elements and the keys that we need to do in order to kind of advance financially? So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. My next one was the ladies who sing part 2. Part 2, you say, well, yeah, because I had part 1 the year before. And this episode was pretty exciting for me because we had marked the beginning of our 6th season of doing this platform, this show. And so I was pretty excited. I had 2 beautiful women that sing. They can sing. Divinity and Tasha LaRae, beautiful women that can sing all genres of music. It was just a wonderful opportunity to have them both here with me, of course, via Zoom, because we're in the pandemic, of course. But it was a great conversation. These women are lovely, and it was great to know them even more and even better. So go check it out. Here it is. Good afternoon and welcome to Real Chicks Rock presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes-Burt, and I'm super excited today because today I got 5 on it. I got 5 on it today, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to celebrate me sitting in this space for the last 5 years. Every first and third Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have been bringing the conversations, the discussions, the chats, the talks with you. And I'm so thankful that you spend time with us every time we've been here. I've had the distinct privilege and honor to talk to so many incredible people, from therapists for mental health to financial management and wealth to marketing to PR people to women who are doing great things in corporate America to DJs to artists to songwriters to producers, Grammy nominated folks. I've talked to Grammy nominated people here on the platform. So today I'm super excited. I could not do this without you. So I thank you guys for taking the time, for leaning in, for listening, for sharing, for commenting, for just being a part of the journey. I'm thankful. I'm thankful to Status Network, who has been holding me down for the past 5 years. I could not do this without them. So thank you, Jack. Thank you, Ned. Thank you, everybody that's been the Status Network team that has been allowing me to put out a quality show time after time. I couldn't do it without those guys. So without further ado, I'm not going to bore you. Maybe I'll say some more thank yous towards the end. I got some anxious, beautiful, talented guests that want to get it in and start having some conversations with me. Today's topic: the ladies who sing, part 2. Yes, part 2. My part 1 was back in 2019 when I talked to Julie McKnight and Dawn Tallman. We had a blast. And the thing about it was, Julie surprised me because I thought she was going to call in from North Carolina. She was in Atlanta and came in and shared the space with me. And it was just a great afternoon of conversation. And so today is part 2. And I know I got a lot of new listeners because these women are dynamic and phenomenal, and they got followers and people that love them and support them. So let me tell the people a little bit about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. We're all about the empowerment of women, and we have been doing this through creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness about issues that impact women. We do it through community service, public speaking, mentoring, events, and the arts. And so, as I said at the beginning of the show, this is 5 years of doing it at this desk. Well, in this format for 5 years. And so we're excited, super excited. So today, I like to introduce my ladies because these ladies, they can sing, y'all. They like to sing. So I got Tasha LaRae and T. Divinity Smith as my guests. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Yes. Hi, ladies. How are y'all?
All is well.
All is well. Look at those big, beautiful smiles. You ladies are just as excited to talk to me as I am to talk to you, right?
You know it.
Yeah. Let's get it in. Let's start chopping this up. Let me start with you, Tasha. Where are you from? Where are you from?
I born and raised Omaha, Nebraska.
Is that right? They got black folks out there in Omaha.
They do, and there's still some more people. When I moved away, I didn't bring them all with me.
How was it growing up in Omaha for you? Tell me a little bit about that life for you.
So it was, compared to Atlanta, it was much slower, which I actually appreciate now. But it was really cool. You know, I had a neighborhood of friends and, group of friends that we grew up basically together. So same people you went to high school, to elementary, you went to middle school, high school together. And I'm still friends with a lot of those folks even till today. Okay. But once I got to high school, my experience around folks became very, very diverse. Because more people were coming from like the Air Force Base, which wasn't so far away. So we were having a large mix of people from around the world who were in school. And, it took several years later, about a decade later, I realized that was something that helped prepare me for international travel and the lifestyle that I have now. So yeah, it's a really cool place to be. And then when I moved to Georgia, it was a whole nother story.
Do you get a chance to go back home often, or how, you know?
I at first I didn't, but for the past couple of years, I've been going back to visit family because I still have like an aunt and my dad still lives there. So I go and check on them because they're getting older and more stubborn by the day, so they don't want to tell you nothing. So you just got to go put your eyes on them and make sure they're okay. But yeah, it's fun. I get a chance to go back every once in a while.
Awesome. Divinity, my love. Where are you from?
Detroit, Michigan, born and raised.
Loving the D. Yeah. Tell me what it was like for you as a child growing up in Detroit.
My childhood was kind of quiet, I would say.
Really?
I lived in a neighborhood where all of the children around me went to the neighborhood schools and I did not. So I just always kind of stayed to myself. I did a lot of reading. I was also trained to play the violin when I was very young. So I would be inside practicing or working on schoolwork or talking with my parents or that kind of thing. So I didn't really interact with a lot of the children in my neighborhood, but I did have a lot of school friends.
And that's uniquely strange because Detroit is considered a big city, right? Yes, when you think so, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And with the Motown
private school. I went to private school. I went to school in the suburbs, so that put me in a different category as far as they were concerned.
I got you. It is.
But like Tasha mentioned, those experiences of being around so many culturally diverse people have really helped me in my later years. So I appreciate my private school education, my all girls Catholic school, high school education.
Is that right?
I didn't appreciate it then, but I appreciate it now.
You know, Tasha, Divinity, I too am a former violinist. I played the violin when I was a young girl too. So I played up until junior high school. And then when I went to high school, they didn't have an orchestra, so I had to give it up. But I did have an opportunity to play at Carnegie Hall, and that was like, with an orchestra, it was like no greater feeling in the world to do that. I'm telling you. So very emotional day that day because you felt the spirit of other musicians that had been in that space. So it was a phenomenal thing. So I want to ask you, Divinity, what type of music did you listen to? Even though you went to all-girl Catholic school, yes, and we appreciate the diversity. What kind of music were you listening to then?
Diverse.
Everything.
I wasn't really, I just listened to everything. My brother was in the house at the time, and he listened to all kinds of things from George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelics to Chicago and Steely Dan and Led Zeppelin and all of that. And so that's, to be real honest, that's still where I live. I'm a classic rock girl through and through.
Yeah.
You get in my car now and I got on the 70s station. I'm jamming to the 70s music and I'm singing things that people have never heard before, and they're like, where did she come from? But that's what I grew up on. And also a lot of classical music, really. Playing the violin, there were certain pieces that I just loved and I would listen to. So I grew up listening to everything. Yeah.
When did you
appreciating it all?
So were you singing along with the music at that time? Is that when this?
I remember getting dressed for school in the morning with my mom, and the station we would listen to played a lot of Beatles. And so I would be singing right along with the Beatles. Yeah. I remember it clearly.
Can you give me a little Michelle?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, my mom said she named me after that song, so that's what it is.
I love that.
Thanks, Divinity, for that little hum. Tasha, tell me, what type of music were you listening to out there? In the West?
In the West, so it was a combination of mostly gospel music. Because I grew up, we grew up Christian, but there's different sub things. Methodist, that's the one. Okay. We grew up Methodist and then switched to like AME and then Baptist and then non-denominational.
Okay.
So, but the majority of it was gospel music, and then also like a lot of Motown. And when we did listen to the radio station, it was extremely diverse. So then that's when I got to hear a lot of soft rock music. And I feel you on, like, I love soft rock music. I love listening to Level 42. Talking about you. Yeah. Star
Star
Yes.
Child and Something About You in the 80s. Yeah, for Level 42. Yeah, they're awesome band.
Yes, absolutely. So, but like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Saturday mornings, they were blasting as loud as possible while we were cleaning the house. And then Sundays, it was Mahalia Jackson and Yolanda Adams. So it's a nice mix of stuff. My mom had a wonderful record collection.
Awesome. So were you always singing with the songs, Tasha, for you? You were singing that
Always.
time?
Always. And it started with my mom when I was really, really young. Because my mom sings. So I picked it up from her first. And then the more we listened to the radio, I started singing along to Yolanda Adams and Mahalia Jackson. So I was like 4 years old, walking around talking about "Soon will be done," and try to have a vibrato at 3 years old. It's kind of funny.
Can you do that again?
That was
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh, that was so good. I thought James Cleveland was coming to you for a minute. You so silly, Tasha.
Oh my God.
Did you always know you wanted to sing?
I did. I've always been interested in it, and I remember hearing at my Sunday school, my teachers would say, they'd be like, she's gonna be a singer. For some reason, I don't remember a whole bunch of stuff, but I remember that. And then the older I got, the more involved I wanted to be. It wasn't until I saw Lauryn Hill in Sister Act 2 that I was like, I actually want to do this as a career. Because that was the first time I saw somebody who looked like me, and they were singing, and they were on the other side of the television. So I was like, how do I get inside this TV box? And so that was my thing. Starting in high school, I had my own insecurities that I was dealing with. And so for a long time, I didn't want anybody to know I sang, because it seemed like that would be the only reason why they wanted to hang around me. But once I got older and came into my own and, got a lot more confidence, and then I just turned into, I want to sing, and these are the reasons why, so I'm going for it.
Beautiful story. Beautiful story. Divinity, did you know you always wanted to sing?
No.
I'll take that answer. I'll take it.
I've always loved to sing, but initially my focus was, like I said, on the violin. I learned to play when I was very little. I learned through what was called the Suzuki method. I was like 3 or 4 maybe, and they taught my mom, and my mom in turn taught me. That was how the program worked. So when I say I grew up playing the violin, I did, and I wasn't wild about it, but that was what my parents wanted me to do, and that was what I did. So I played through high school, and then when I felt like I was old enough to make a decision, I put that thing down. I always wanted to take voice lessons, but I never really thought that I would be a singer. So songwriting, yeah, because poetry has always been a go-to for me, but not necessarily a singer.
So why did you pursue it then if you didn't think that was something you wanted?
I think it pursued me.
You think,
I think it pursued me.
Yeah.
I always sang, I was never really shy about singing. But I remember being, I was like the class jukebox on the bus. So like I said, I went to private school, so I would take a bus to school, and it would take us a while to get out there. And so people would be like, this song, sing this song. And I would sing it, do all the beats and all of the stuff.
Wow.
So yeah, I've always done that kind of thing. And I even helped to establish a gospel choir at my school.
Nice.
But in terms of being a professional vocalist, no, I did not see that one coming.
Do you remember your first professional experience? Oh man, that was a great conversation with the ladies who sing with T. Divinity Smith and Tasha LaRae. Tasha LaRae is a former singer with the group Arrested Development. And Divinity's been doing some great work in the house community space for years. Writer, singer. These ladies, like I said, love to sing. It was a great afternoon having that conversation with them. Please follow them on social media. Divinity has a little project called the Little Bit Project, where it's all about doing affirmations, giving people positive affirmations through cards, sharing that. It's a really great initiative, and it really puts smiles on people's faces. Tasha Made It, where she's doing earrings and some other jewelries, but earrings is primarily her thing. Some beautiful pieces are out there, so follow them both. All right. My next one was All Eyes on Ash. Ash Lauren. Ashley, is as we know her. She just really started DJing these past couple of years, and I remember her sharing with me one of her tracks, like her mixtape, and it was like phenomenal. And I was like, man, you are on your way. So it was a very good conversation. Another person born and raised in Detroit. What up, though, right? Loving Detroit, but really coming to Atlanta and falling in love with Atlanta and making connections with some people that really opened her up to the house music scene here in Atlanta. And she's just been taking off running. Very young and talented, beautiful individual that is doing DJing and going international with it. And so we support her here in Atlanta. And it was just great to spend some time with her. Very intelligent person. Here's some of the conversation. Today's topic is all about All Eyes on Ash. My guest today is Ash Lauren. Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Michelle. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. Happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, because you are a very, very busy individual. And so I'm so thankful that the stars aligned and our schedules worked out, that you were able to come this afternoon. But I want to kind of jump right into it, because you have a lot of material I want to cover, you know, as an artist. Born and raised in Detroit, is that the case? Tell me what's good.
Yes.
What up, though? What up, though?
What up, though? So I was born in Detroit, and I actually grew up in a suburb of Detroit called Rochester Hills. Okay. So born in Detroit, grew up in Metro Detroit, kind of like maybe Gwinnett County to Atlanta.
So like a north thing of
exactly.
Detroit.
So it's about 30 minutes north of Detroit.
Okay.
Yes.
So how was it growing up in that area as a kid? How was it?
Well, I mean, it was great. I mean, my parents are both born and raised from the city, from Detroit, and I was born in the mid-'80s. And around that time, you know, Detroit's got a little edge. Yeah. So, you know, my parents worked hard to, you know, move us outside of the city. And, you know, I got a great education. I had a beautiful childhood. It was also important to my parents to keep us, you know, rooted to the city, being that, you know, we were born there and that's where they're from. So we definitely, you know, went to church every Sunday in Detroit. My grandparents still lived in the city. So it was cool. It was cool to kind of get the education and all, like, the luxury of, you know, growing up in the suburbs. But I also appreciate how my parents wanted to make it a point to have us, like, still, you know, be rooted in, you know, as Detroit people.
We're proud to be from Detroit too, and we'll talk more about that. I want to talk a little bit about your musical influences as a child. What kind of music did you listen to, Ash, growing up?
I listened to a lot of different music growing up. I mean, I'd say I got into electronic music probably around 8th grade. Okay. Prior to that, I was listening to, like, the Spice Girls. I loved Brandy, Christina Aguilera. I was really, like, obsessed with a rock group called Bush for a while. So I was kind of into a lot of different sounds early on. I was really into Erykah Badu. But I'll say around 8th grade is when I really started to learn about electronic music. And I was learning about that through my older sister, Anne Marie. So she was the one that had kind of exposed me, you know, to the more left field, like underground, like dance music sounds. And once I got exposed to that, like, it really, really, you know, took an interest to me. Was it difficult to find that that type of underground sound, being that Detroit was the Motor City with the Motown sound? And, you know, people think of Detroit, at least most African Americans or black people, we think of Detroit as, you know, Aretha, the Stevies, Barry Gordy, just that whole soul evolution. Did you find it was difficult to find that sound that your sister shared with you? I mean, you know, well, techno started in Detroit, but still, even to this day, that's not common knowledge in Detroit the way you would think it would be, especially with the black community, like you said. So it definitely was an underground culture. I will say, once I started, finding more, about dance music through my sister, I did realize that there was some electronic music that I had been exposed to on the radio on WJLB, but I didn't know, like, specifically, like, who Underground Resistance was, who Model 500 was, but I was hearing that music literally since I was, like, 8th grade, whenever, probably even before that, and I, don't remember, but it definitely was interesting when it all started to kind of make sense. Like, the music she was listening to and the parties she was going to, that was like all of kind of some of those sounds I had been hearing on the radio. And I just, wanted to find out more. It definitely wasn't as accessible as it is now, because we have the internet and there's like YouTube and there's so many different tools. But I'd say the way I started really digging for electronic music was actually going to physical music stores at that time, like Harmony House, Record Time, were some record stores I was going to back then in Detroit.
Were you sneaking into parties with Big Sis too?
Yes, I was definitely sneaking into parties. And, obviously these were raves, so I don't think they were really carding for raves. But I was, in 8th grade, so you knew I was a kid. But I used to go away to the city. My sister was going to Wayne State, which is in Midtown Detroit, and my mom would let me go visit Big Sis, visiting Big Sis in her dorm. And because my sister was like 19, and she was still young herself. I was tagging along. She definitely took me to some raves. And then once I got a little older, once I was in my 18, 19, that's around the time where I started venturing off to some events on my own.
Right. So because we love Detroit, I know you love it. That's your home, your family's from there. You've had some great growing up cultural experiences there. How did we get to Atlanta?
That's a great question. I got to Atlanta because, my freshman year of college, graduated high school in 2003. Sounds like a long time ago. I'm about to stop saying the numbers in a few years. Graduated high school. Went away to college for a year at Morgan State University in Baltimore. So I went to a black college for a year, and which was a great experience. And I got to even kind of check out some of their Baltimore club music scene when I was there, which was cool. But basically, I went there for a year. It was really, really expensive with the out-of-state tuition and everything on my parents. So we had decided for my sophomore year, I was going to move back home and go to school at Wayne State in Detroit.
Like Sis.
Yes, like Sis. But when I was at Morgan, my freshman year, my roommate was from Atlanta. And me and her became really, really close. So did the freshman year. I went back to Detroit. She actually ended up going back to Atlanta, probably for I think it was the same reason. Just out-of-state tuition was really expensive. So me and her kept in contact, and I was like, man, I want to come to Atlanta to visit you. So I think by the time I finally made it down here to visit her, it was right around my 21st birthday. Or it was my 21st birthday.
The turn-up began.
Yep, so I turned 21. I think I went to Miami first, and then I went to Atlanta. Because at the time there was this airline called AirTran. AirTran, and they had a rate called X-Fares. X-Fares was if you were 18 to 22 years old, you could fly standby to anywhere that they went for 50 or 60 bucks. So I think I flew standby to Miami, did that, and then I was like, I think I'm going to go to Atlanta next. So got to Atlanta, and me and her hung out. Her mom was living in Snellville, so she was living out in Snellville with her mom. We were driving literally from Snellville, going all the way downtown Atlanta, hanging out, and I just was like, wow. I was just so hooked. I was all the nice cars had black people driving them, it was just a certain type of prestige, to the black culture here, and I really, really liked that. And, this was still, 2007, 2008. So there wasn't really a lot going on in Detroit at that time. And, I was 21.
So
you
was ready.
I literally just saved up a little bit of money, and I moved down here the summer of 2007.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you start school, continue your education?
No,
here?
I forgot to add that part. I dropped out. I ended up dropping out of school, so, which ended up, when I look back on it now, it was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I dropped out of school, came to Atlanta, honestly, with no like super in-set plan. I was just like, I'm 21, like rent was so cheap.
Yes, it
You know,
was.
like I had a cousin that was going to Clark at the time.
Yeah.
So me, my cousin, and then my homegirl who I used to be roommates
Yes.
with, we all got an apartment off Collier Road.
Yes.
$900 a month. So it was 300. My rent was $300.
$300.
So I was like, I'll be able to come up with 300.
Yeah.
So.
And Collier's a good location too.
Yeah. I mean, like it was still like a proper Atlanta
Yes,
address.
it sure was.
So yeah, so that's how I got here.
That happened. That's what happened to all of us, Ashley. I mean, realistically, we live with our parents and we go away to college and we meet friends.
Yeah.
And we have this relationship with people, and for whatever reasons, their road leads to Atlanta. And that's the first thing we say. When I get it together, I'm coming to visit you.
Exactly.
That's what happened to me. I visited a friend of mine that I went to college with, and she was down here living with her brother. And I didn't want to come back.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I had a good time. It was something about the air, the way people were moving. I was like, what is this Black Mecca? This is crazy.
Exactly.
This is ridiculous. Like, everybody's like saying hi. I was like, they're talking to me.
Right?
I was touching my back.
The sun is out every day.
The sun is out every day. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to New York.
Yeah.
And I went back and I worked for like 6 months or so, and I met her brother, and he was like, I want you to come be with me. And I was like, okay.
Ooh, so it really,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And I moved down, and I've been here ever since.
That's beautiful.
Atlanta's been good to a lot of us, and it creates a lot of
definitely.
opportunities, and you meet a lot of great people. So now that you're here and you're roommating, you're off Collier Road, what was the scene like for you guys? Like, were you all doing like dance music, electronica? What's happening?
So this is another interesting part of my story.
I love it.
So I was into like electronic music in high school and through my sister, and then I'd mentioned I had found out a little bit about the Baltimore club music sound when I was in Baltimore. Moved to Atlanta, could not find the house music scene at
Say
all.
Say that again.
I could not find the scene.
That's how underground it was, right?
Yes, and I will also say, at that time I was kind of transitioning into kind of like, because my homegirl wasn't like a house head. She was more on like the Black Hollywood scene.
Okay.
So we were going to like Velvet Room. I went to Visions, Club 112. So I got my experience of that Black Hollywood kind of like hip hop, Atlanta scene.
R&B, whatever,
So I honestly, I used to Google, but even then, like at that time, Google was around, but it wasn't like, there wasn't all these Facebook groups. Like it still wasn't extremely accessible, because I would try. I would be like, man, I just want to hear some house music. So I'd say for like the first 3 or 4 years, didn't have anything. About maybe the first 3 years. And then in 2010, I was out drinking with a friend of mine that's from DC, and he was like, I'm going to invite my my homeboy from Detroit. I was like, okay, cool. So my friend from DC that I was kicking it with, he was like really into like all types of music and whatnot, and we all started talking about music, and somehow house music came up. And I was like telling my friend's friend, like, I've been in Atlanta like 3-4 years now, like I haven't found any house music events, like I just need something. And he was like, you haven't heard about House in the Park? He's like, you don't know about House in the Park? I'm like, no. So he told me about it. I went home, I went, they had a proper website. I went to the website, and this was still months before. I don't remember what time of year it was. I'd say maybe it was like March or April.
Okay.
So it was still months away, but my sister was also living here by this time. So I was like, I found the house music in Atlanta. Like, it's called House in the Park. So we literally were like counting down, like Xing off the days off the calendar, like, like Labor Day weekend, like we're going to do this.
Yes.
So I remember like that day we got there. This is when it was still at Perkison Park. We got there maybe at like 11:30 or maybe like right at 12 when the gates open. We walked in, and when I tell you, like, I mean, that one experience just opened. It changed everything. And I had already been to DEMF in Detroit.
Right.
I had been to that, but I was still kind of young. So although I knew about dance music and I liked it, I still wasn't all the way engulfed in it the way I got from that 2010 experience.
Wow.
So, you know, because I did the hip hop thing too, and I just realized like this really isn't for me, and I just wanted to get back in a space and in a community where I really felt like I could just be myself. And in 2010 at House in the Park, that's when everything kind of came back full circle.
How beautiful for you.
Yeah.
How all eyes on Ash. Keep your eyes on her. She's a beautiful and talented young lady doing some great things in the house music space as a DJ, traveling the globe. Follow her on social media so you know where she's going to be. She may be in a city near you really soon. My last segment is House in the Park. Welcome home. I like this guy, Ramon Rasso. He's the founder of House in the Park, which is a big deal here. It's a house music festival that happens Labor Day weekend, actually the Sunday of Labor Day. And we commemorated in 2020, that was his 17 years of doing House in the Park. It's always a pleasure to have him come in the studio and talk to us, give us what we can expect the day of. Just really fun conversation, just interesting. And, you know, if nothing else, this festival typically brings everybody together. Whether you like house music or not, people take advantage or take the opportunity to come out and have a great family fun day in the park. And it's just awesome. So here's the clip. And today is no different. So I've had this guy here previously before. This is his third time.
Yeah, number 3.
This is number 3. And I'm super excited because whenever you see this gentleman in the space, it's about that time. We starting to get a little close. We get a little closer. We get a little closer to what we call a holiday. For those of you that don't know, here in Atlanta, we have what is called House in the Park. And who I have next to me is the founder and the curator of House in the Park, none other than Ramon Rasso. Hi, Ramon.
Hello, Michelle.
How are you?
I'm well, sister. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm always glad that you can take some time to spend with me because it is August.
Yes.
And it is mid-August.
Yes.
And that means we are just a few weeks away.
Yes.
from what we call our festival, right?
Right.
Right?
It's family reunion.
It's family reunion. So today's topic is called Welcome Home.
I know.
It's Welcome Home.
I know.
House in the Park, House in the Park. But before we get there, Ramon, I want to talk to you just how you doing and how did you deal with COVID, like with the past, 18, 19 months? How did it impact you personally?
It was crazy. I'm used to being by myself.
Okay, no impact there, right?
No impact there.
Right.
But it you know I travel a lot, so obviously I couldn't travel, so that was not cool. I've not left the country in over 12 months, so I got the itches. I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah, that ain't cool. That ain't
my
cool.
My passport's like, yo,
what's going on? Why you ain't stamping me? What's up with the stamps?
Right. I picked up a new hobby. I started riding, I won't say new. I reintroduced myself to motorcycles, so I bought a new motorcycle.
Yeah, I see you on social media looking all tough and kind of things, and the fellas looking good too. Rolling with some good-looking people.
Come on through. I got somebody for you.
I'm going to come through.
Yeah, so just kept myself occupied. No sports, no nothing. It was tough.
It was tough. And we relied a lot on FaceTiming and texting and calling people, but we were just still socially distant because I haven't seen you. Like we live almost in the same neighborhood, but we weren't doing any of that. You know what I mean? Because we just wanted to be safe, right?
Yeah, I took it seriously. I decided not to stream. I let some of the other cats handle that. I took this time to disconnect and really kind of recharge and refocus myself on just my personal life.
Right. A lot of people have done the same thing, similar things. We put on some COVID pounds in the interim. I'm speaking for myself. I got some pounds I need to lose. But yeah, we did. I think quite a few people did use that time to be reflective, just kind of slow down, because that was the real biggest thing that everybody is saying. It was like, yo, I was doing this, I was over here, I was running around. But if nothing else, it slowed us down.
Absolutely.
Tremendously.
Absolutely.
Like, if your name wasn't Kroger or Publix or Whole Foods, we wasn't checking for you, right?
Yes.
A lot of people had that delivered. They wasn't even going out to do that.
That part, yes.
Yeah, right?
Amazon got a lot of my money.
Yeah, a lot of your money. A lot of TV time, a lot of watching documentaries, reading books, but again, just doing that self-assessment, so that was good. I want to talk to you about 2019, though. Just before we got the shelter in place, we partied.
Yeah, we did.
We celebrated the gathering, right? It was an anniversary.
Oh, no, that was actually 2020.
Was it 2020?
It was February 2020.
2020, that's right, that's right, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was a big night for you.
Oh, my God. That was a good night. I mean, if we had to end it and put ourselves in hibernation in that way, that was the last. I mean, Charisma
killed it.
My turntable is still.
It's still smoking?
Still smoking. Yeah. Shout out to Charisma.
Yes, Charisma killed it. We had a good time. Great footage. People were dancing. We were in a place that is no more. The music room, right?
I know.
The music room. That was the last time we really got it in, and everybody was saying, "Man, my goodness, that was the last part before we got shelter in place."
Yeah, it was.
It was the last
way to go down.
It was the last banger, right? I thought about it, I was like, Ramon, man, he sealed the deal because that was the last banger.
Let me put another little list on my list of accomplishments.
Please, bro, that was a nice one. And and again, being in the legendary space on Edgewood, the whole thing. And so now the music room is gone. Unfortunately, Sound Table is gone.
Yes.
So there's some venues that we here in Atlanta have been rocking with for years. And now, unfortunately, due to COVID, they're no longer available to us. They're gone. They're sold. They're shut down. They're under new management. They're doing different things. And so, as house heads, we're just trying to find our way. Like, where can we go and we party and that type of thing. That's the thing.
That was a big impact on not just me, but the entire scene, because I knew these guys. Like, Kieran and I are cool. Like, that's my homie.
Right.
Carl made a decision to get out of the Sound Table in just the nick of time.
Right.
So I'm glad he did. But as a community, we lost some good venues.
Yes.
There's some couple other venues that shut down, a couple other places that changed ownership.
Yes.
And so now, as we reopen, well, whenever we reopen, we will all be searching for a new place to, have our events.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part, because, I just played with Stan last week, and we're having to rethink how we do parties. We're having to go back to maybe even the renegade days of renting out spaces or doing stuff, in places that we ain't supposed to do it in.
He said the renegade days.
Yes.
We may have to, because people want to get out, and we want to release, and we just don't know where we can go to get that.
Right.
But I want to talk to you about that, talking about renting spaces and being different and creative and that type of thing. Last year for House in the Park, just set us up a little bit, Ramon. How did we celebrate House in the Park last year?
The peer pressure. Listen, I told you I disconnected, so I was cool with, like, all right, I'm going to sit at home. But the team, the fellas, Kim, Kai, Salah, some of my staff, they was like, we got to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it.
Okay.
And they was like, no, we got to do it. I was like, but I don't want to do it. And they kind of pushed me into it. And so we put that together literally in like maybe 3 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I got a powerful team.
Yeah.
And so the first question was where? Salah jumped on it immediately. Salah knows every little nook and cranny of Atlanta. It's amazing.
God bless
So
you.
he's from here, so
Yeah, go on, Salah.
And then Kemet immediately jumped on the streaming portion of it. We had a fellow DJ who has a streaming company who did a fine job.
Yes.
Shout out to Kemet. Yeah, shout out to Kemet. It was logistically, it was like and then we had the hardest part about that was, as you said, it was intimate. You were there.
Yeah.
We only could invite so many people.
That's right. That's right. Sorry.
How do you tell what used to be 25,000
people
that I only can invite 40 or 50?
Word up.
we made a few people upset. We're sorry.
We're so sorry, but we're gonna make up for it this year. Are we not, Ramon?
Yes, we are.
We're gonna make up for it. But the digital, the streaming was good. It was cool because it still gave people the opportunity to be a part of it.
Gave them that life.
And thank you for that, because and your team, just the men that hold you up and everybody, your staff that talk and said, let's do it, because we would have felt a way. I know I would have. if we didn't have something, you know what I mean? Because we look forward to that every year. And so
the struggle for me was, we at House in the Park have a sense of excellence in how we produce things.
Right.
We don't take shortcuts, we don't cut corners. And I just wanted to make sure that we could present a good product.
Right.
Because I didn't want it to be House in the Park in a club and in dark in the middle of the day.
Yes.
So it needed to be somewhere.
Yes.
And that was our challenge. Where can we find it? Because we couldn't do it in the park.
Right.
And we had to be careful about advertising because we didn't want everyone to show up and just, bum rush to make it a party. So we, luckily Salah was able to find a place that we still had a little, still had a little greenery. Still,
it was beautiful.
We were still outside, and it was, that's a challenge.
Had a nice breeze.
Yeah.
We had shade.
Absolutely.
It was really cute. It was really nice.
We did tents for everybody.
Yeah.
So they had to worry about loading their stuff in. So, it was cool.
You did a good, you know what? You do everything in excellence. I ain't messing with you.
I tried to.
I ain't messing with you. So now, here we are, 2021. What year is this one, Ramon? Tell the people what year.
17. You had to remind me. 17.
Come on.
She's 17. Our baby is 17.
She was only 17. Okay, I was singing Rick James. Sorry. 17, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Everybody can't say that.
No, they can't. And sometimes I forget that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I tell this story a lot. Every year after House of the Park, I say I'm quitting. Every year, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah, you ain't doing no more. And then who talks you out of it?
Kai.
Thank you.
Kai, I'll say, what up, baby?
Yeah. Every year you say you're not going to do it.
Every year.
Because it's a lot.
This is by far one of the hardest things that I do every year.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
It's so many moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the part that people don't really get.
Yeah.
And because there's so many moving parts, and even though we have staff, we have a small staff. But I would be remiss if I don't tell people that we go through the same process that Peachtree Road Race, Music Midtown. One is not doing it that way. Shaky Knees, Shaky Beats. So all the requirements, that's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and every year, it gets bigger for you from an attendance perspective, right? So, so there's accountability. The city's going to hold you at a certain level. You got to worry about sanitation. You know, water has to be present for us. You gave us some fans and stuff with the mist. We like that. All that. And let's talk about it. So, where will we be this year? Are we going to be on the tennis courts like we were last year?
We are going to be on the tennis courts.
Yeah.
We learned 2018 was our first year, so we had some growing pains. It was hot.
It was hot.
But I think that we got the right combination of people.
Yeah.
We capped the numbers to not overwhelm the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And on a tennis court, the whole premise of House in the Park is a dance outside. We never said we were going to be house in a pavilion.
Come on, sir. Tell the people.
We dancing outside.
Tell the people in the back.
And so,
yeah.
It's rain. We're going to dance if it's rain. We're going to dance if it's misty. If it's hot, we're going to dance.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for.
That's what we're there for.
And so we're going to try to make the people as comfortable as possible. But it's house in the park.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
a parking lot, not a pavilion, not a gym.
Yeah, you're right. And real talk, realistically, ladies and gentlemen, when you typically go to a festival, it's outdoors.
I don't know of an indoor festival there is.
It's really outdoors now. There is accommodations where you can cool off on the side, which Ramon and his team thought about that with the fan and the mist, and then there's water.
Yes.
You can get that, and then the golf carts. You blew my mind last year with the golf carts to transport people that may be handicapped or physically challenged.
Yes.
Yes, that was my awesome conversation with Ramon Rosso, founder of House in the Park. He celebrated 17 last year. 18 is on the docket for 2022. So hopefully, we'll keep our fingers crossed and prayers that none of this Omicron or any of these other variants will come and try to spoil our fun as the outdoor space. So very good conversation. I really enjoyed him and having him as a guest. Well, that is my time. That is Year in Review Part 2. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Follow us. You know me, Real Chicks Rock. We are everywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Follow, like, subscribe, share, comment. We have a YouTube channel. Go out there and check out some of these episodes for the ones that you missed, because we know you didn't get a chance to see them all. So go out there and check them out. But until next time, may you live to be 100, and I live to be 100 minus a day, so I never have to know that beautiful people like yourself has passed away. Until next time.